All right, here we go. It's episode 77 of Catfish on Ice with Chad Mitten and Rich Al. Rich, you do that every time when I open up an episode. You're just like, wow.
I can't believe
episode is it?
I can't believe that it's so many. That's the thing. It's like crazy that it's
guess what?
77.
Tonight's Thursday. It's episode 77. And if you're counting correctly, Monday was episode 76. That's why we're at episode 77. If it's making sense to you now. But we appreciate everyone being with us tonight. We have another episode night where we're not reacting to a game afterwards. It's just the way the schedule is working out this year. It's been kind of a weird schedule. But we just watched a back-to-back, a brutal back-to-back for the Preds. They play Calgary, who is playing great. Then they play Edmonton, who is just loaded. And so it was a really, really difficult back-to-back. And they split those games, but their 4-game winning streak is officially over. We wanted it to last forever, but newsflash, it did not last forever. It's officially over. But it's okay because they fought hard. They did not go out without a fight. They were just up against a very great team. But we're going to get into that game. We have a lot to get into. I feel like I say that every episode. But it's really true tonight. We have so much to get into, even though there's not a game to talk about tonight. We have some other NHL news that's really a big deal. Jack Eichel finally gets out of Buffalo. Finally is the emphasis there. He is out of Buffalo. He got out somehow. He snuck out. I don't know if he got on a boat and snuck out. I don't know if he tunneled his way out, but he is out of Buffalo and he is in Vegas. He has gone to the Vegas Golden Knights. There's probably 29 other teams I would rather him go to than Vegas. But Agreed. Jack Eichel is going to the Vegas Golden Knights. We will break down that trade. We will talk about how we feel about it, how it affects the rest of the league, who won that trade. We got to get into that. We got to talk about Filip Forsberg because this injury,
bummer.
It's not just any injury, if you ask me. It is got some serious ramifications to the rest of this season in a couple of different ways that I really want to get into. So that's good. We're going to get into that. That's going to be our opening face-off. I'm going to get Rich's thoughts on that as well. It's a pretty big deal, if you ask me. It's not just some regular injury. It's a pretty big deal. Mm-hmm. We got to talk about Pekka Rinne's jersey retirement ceremony finally being announced. We can put it on the calendar. We know the game. We know the date. Let's talk about it. We're going to get into it. We love Pekka Rinne. We never, ever shy away from talking about Pekka Rinne.
No, I miss him so much.
I do as well. I do too.
I watched the interview, man, and I was just like, gosh, man, this hate time is cruel. But
cool. So we're going to get into that. That's some good news there. What else we got here? That's it. Oh, and we got to do it's Thursday night, so we got to do our battle for the Central Power Rankings, which – once again, it's going to be difficult to talk about, but we're going to go back and look at all the games, and we're going to see has anything changed. Has Colorado made up some ground? Are they finally starting to look like the legit Colorado Avalanche? Let's see what happens with that. That's going to round out the episode. This is Catfish on Ice, episode 77 with Chad Mitten and Rich Howe, brought to you by DraftKings, and we are part of the Hockey Podcast Network. Our opening face-off tonight is going to be Filip Forsberg.
Oh, man.
In this injury, we got to talk about it because this is, for me, a very, very serious deal here. It can not only have a really big impact on how the Predators do in the standings and in these next few games, but it could actually have an impact on the long-term future because in case you're living under a rock and you're not been really paying attention much lately, Filip Forsberg is in a contract year, folks. And
this does not bode well for him.
And we do not know what week to week means. It's never a good thing when the injury designation is week to week. One thing I can tell you is it's a serious injury. You don't get that designation in hockey if it's a minor injury. They don't give you week to week. That just doesn't happen. And so that when I saw week to week, that scared me.
Yeah.
And the thing about hockey is, and I want to get your thoughts on it, Rich. The thing about hockey is it's so much different than other sports. It's so mysterious. Like you don't know what exactly is going on. It's either upper body or it's lower body. They give you these really generic timetables. And what does week to week even mean? Week to week, there's 52 weeks in a year. What the hell does week to week mean? You know what I'm saying, man? You know what I'm saying, right?
Oh yeah.
So totally. I mean, I'm really nervous that this is going to linger, and who knows how many games. Your guess is as good as mine on how many games Filip Forsberg might miss from this. But Rich, just kind of give me your original thoughts from this, because for me, it is a very uneasy, unsettling moment right now for me, and I can't get rid of it. And I'm already having to deal with Derrick Henry being out.
Oh, I know, man.
And so now I got to deal with Filip Forsberg.
Rough. So I watched the game, and obviously he collided with Roman Josi, and it didn't look like much, and he kind of stayed out there a little bit. But then after the game, they showed like a slow motion. I think when they collided, he hit his head, like Josi hit his shoulder or something. So I'm obviously he's got probably a concussion of some sort, but it looked worse when I watched it in slow motion. It's a bummer. I mean, it's horrible, like all the way around, because like he was really picking up his production. He was, getting his point total up. They were looking good. And then last night with him out, they had to mix the lines all up, and that's not even getting into his contract and all that, like what this means for the rest of the year for him, like how long is he really out? So many questions.
And that is really honestly what has me worried is his contract negotiations here and his status here, because I do think the Predators can maybe survive without him in the lineup for a couple games. I do think he's a very important player, obviously, but it's not even about can the Predators figure out a way to win a game or two without him or however long it goes. I'm thinking about contract negotiation status right now, because the double whammy here, and really what could really go wrong here, is not only do the Predators completely fall apart without him in the lineup, which is very possible, but then the Predators become total sellers and not players in the playoff race. And then they almost have to trade Filip Forsberg and get what they can out of him. Or at least you would think. You've also got the possibility that Forsberg decides to do kind of what Jack Eichel did. And not on the same level, but go that same route where it's like, I don't feel like you're a contender, and I don't want to sign here. I know that Jack Eichel demanded a trade, and Forsberg's, but it's the same idea. Like Forsberg could decide that I know he says that he loves Nashville. He wants to stay here. That's all. Players are going to say that. I'm not saying he's lying. But I am saying that players are going to say that kind of stuff, especially when they're still on the team. But there's a very good possibility that this could really impact his status when it comes to his contract year here. And it's very different than and he was playing great. I mean, he was doing very well. He had 7 points in 9 games. His Corsi is looking really good this year. He's averaging the same amount of ice time he's averaged his entire career. So nothing, when you look at his numbers this year in a very small sample size, nothing sticks out where you're like, okay, something's not right here. Everything checks out here. Like he's playing well. He's doing what he has to do. He's a big part. What really stinks about this whole timing of this, and this is could never be good timing. What's really bad timing about this is that it looked like we were finally seeing a lot of really good chemistry with this lineup, namely Mikael Granlund centering Matt Duchene and Filip Forsberg. It was benefiting all 3 of those players, and it was also benefiting the entire team, which gave you that 4-game winning streak. Rich, kind of tell me about that, man. Like, do you kind of agree with that? What do you think this is going to do to the lineup now that Filip Forsberg's out? We saw that Rocco Grimaldi's in. He came in last night against the Oilers,
and he was fresh. He was
fresh. He was all over the place. But kind of give me your thoughts. Do you think he sticks around, Rocco Grimaldi, or do you think that we're about to see another prospect called up?
Yeah, to touch on what you said a minute ago about how they'll do without Forsberg, I think they'll be. I mean, they actually hung in with Edmonton for the first 2 periods. They were in a pretty decent position, but then, I mean, watching the Oilers is like watching a video game. I mean, those guys are so good, and they turned it on when they had to. Yeah, I hate the lineup change. I mean, I know it's necessary, but like you said, they were building good chemistry. I really liked what they were doing, and now it's such a hard thing to even guess at. But moving Grimaldi up to, what was he on the second line, or was he on first? I don't remember.
I'll have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, that's not really. I mean, he looked good. He was skating all over the place because he had fresh legs, but I don't know if that's sustainable with the way the team's built now.
Well, we've already mentioned this, and you actually just said it. It's nothing on Rocco Grimaldi here,
no,
but I don't think he fits into the type of team this team is anymore.
No,
and so we're all, the popular hashtag was free Eichel, but I'm like free Rocco.
Yeah.
Because if he can find the right landing spot in another team, he could still be a really good NHL player. So I'm glad that he's getting this opportunity, but let's be honest here. He is not going to replace Filip Forsberg at all.
Not at all.
And so it's going to take a full team effort, a full collective. I know a lot of people are pointing out Matt Duchene today and saying Matt Duchene's going to have to be the one that has to, but he's already playing pretty damn good. So how much more do you want him to do? Like, I get it. You want to come out and say, well, Matt Duchene's going to have to come out and step up and be the – I get that, but he's already playing pretty well. So I don't know what more you want him to do unless you want him to be the next Connor McDavid. Like, honestly, like, he's playing really well right now. So even if he keeps bringing that same production, I still don't think that's going to be enough to replace Forsberg. So now you need someone else from the bottom 6 to step up. And I just don't think it's going to be Rocco Grimaldi. Tanner Jeannot, I think of him. He's going to have to keep elevating his game like he has been. I hate to put that pressure on him, but I'm not afraid of him not doing that. I know he'll step up to the occasion. I got a big one for you. I got a big player.
I bet I know who it is.
Oh, I'm sure you do. You always seem to know what I'm about to say. I don't even share my thoughts with you all the time.
Yep. Nope.
It's Eeli Tolvanen.
That's it.
I'm sure a lot of people knew what I was about to say that are following the team. Eeli Tolvanen's got 1 point in 10 games.
Yeah,
he's been virtually invisible. I mean, I love the guy, and I think he's still got a really bright future. But there are nights where I have to make sure that he actually played.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
And I'm being brutally honest here. I have to check and make sure he actually played. For whatever reason, and you can blame it on a lot of things. We can dive into the analytics to see what's going on there. But he's just not been effective. He's not been productive. It's obvious. And so guess what? We need Eeli Tolvanen. I'm sorry. I'm putting my chips on the table if I'm John Hines. Right. I'm putting Eeli Tolvanen in Filip Forsberg's spot.
Yeah.
Eeli Tolvanen, Mikael Granlund, Matt Duchene. Let's see if Eeli Tolvanen can somewhat replace at least the offensive production that Filip Forsberg was doing. I say this all the time. Forsberg gets overlooked all the time for being a really good, hard-hitting defensive forward. And so I don't think we're going to be able to replace that. I don't really see anyone in the lineup that's going to be able to come in quickly and replace that. Mm-hmm. So we're out on that one. But when it comes to offense, the team's already offensively challenged as it is. The power play is going to take a hit. Eeli Tolvanen, it's your time to shine. It's your time to step up.
I 100% agree. So before Tolvanen got hurt last year, he was on a tear. Like, he looked amazing on the power play. He was getting good looks, killer shot. He got hurt. That all went downhill. And I don't know what's going on, but
well, to be fair to Tolvanen, I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to let you say this real quick. To be fair to Tolvanen, because we're all about fairness around here, Tolvanen was getting no ice time. He's getting 12, 13, 14 minutes. His ice time went up to almost 17 minutes last night against the Oilers. So he's going to get more ice time now, naturally. So let's see what he can produce here. Let's see what he can get in. Finish your thought, Rich. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, you're totally fine. Just watching him last night, and obviously they're going up against Edmonton, but he was just having a hard time getting in position. And there was one opportunity he had. I think they were on the power play. He was right in the slot and could have shot it easily, but he opted to pass. And I don't know. I guess he just doesn't feel comfortable right now.
Yeah.
Something's going on. I don't know.
So it's looking like last night, according to Brooks Bratton, Tolvanen was on the top line with Johansson and Grimaldi last night.
Okay, so it was Grimaldi on front.
In warm-ups, yeah.
Okay.
And so, he got almost 17 minutes of ice time last night, so obviously he got a very big increase in playing time, which is good. But, you're still looking at it. I got to look at his numbers here, but really I want to see those shot totals. But the thing of it is, and you can't go off one game here. It's going to take a long sample size here, and we got to see how long Forsberg is going to be out for. But Tolvanen is a player that really just instantly I thought of. I didn't think of Duchesne. I didn't think of Johansson. I didn't think of Granlund. They're all playing pretty well as it is. I don't know what more you want them to do. Tolvanen is a player that can get the Preds over this period of however long we're missing Forsberg, however long that ends up being.
Yeah, and they put a lot of faith in him last year and this year, with the progression of his game, and they're giving him what he wants.
He had 4 shots on goal last night, so that's good. That means he was aggressive. But either way, it's going to be tough. We have to wait and see. We're not going to pretend to know what's going to happen. I'm just saying that I have a little bit of paranoia going on right now when it comes to what this could turn into on multiple angles. So we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully we'll get some more news on it as the days go on. But I'm telling you right now, these hockey injuries, when it's week to week, they're very mysterious. They don't give updates regularly. And I'm telling you, one day we're just going to wake up and they're going to say either one of two things. Either Forsberg's on IR or Forsberg's going to play tonight.
That's true.
It's literally one or the other. It's feast or famine. And I'm really, really keeping my fingers crossed that he only misses 2 or 3 more games and he can get back in there and have a really strong season, and the Preds can hopefully have a good season as well, and we can make sense of keeping him on this team because I really do like Forsberg.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I don't want to lose him.
What kind of stinks is without him. So their schedule looked a little better in November after they got past Edmonton. They got Chicago coming up, Arizona, Ottawa, Montreal, Dallas. Definitely. Those are all games I feel with him in the lineup, I'm pretty confident that they would win those. But, man, now without him in there, it just puts everything in question.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a huge blow to the lineup. Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see. But that's our opening face-off. It's the Filip Forsberg injury. The Filip Forsberg mystery is what we should probably call it. Because, honestly, we just don't know how long this is going to last. He might be back next week. He might miss 3 or 4 weeks. It's really that uncertain. So
Borowiecki was out too.
Yeah.
So, and I think that had an impact on defense.
Well, of course it did. Of course it did, because it put Ben Harper back in the lineup.
Man, I know Kyle Perkins, who's on here for Perks Picks, is big time against Harper, and I'm starting to get on board with that a little bit. I was watching him a little closer last night, and
he just looks lost out there.
He looks lost.
I don't know. Yeah. We could spend a whole episode talking about that, but I don't have enough ibuprofen in this place to fix my headache if we do that.
Yeah,
all right. All right. Let's quickly get into this game against the Oilers. I honestly, it sucks to lose. It always sucks to lose, but I'm not really going to get overly worked up or upset over this loss because honestly, the Oilers are a ridiculously stacked team. And when you have Draisaitl and McDavid, it's not even fair. And honestly, Connor McDavid got thrown. All right, he didn't have baptism by fire per se on his first NHL game, but he really got thrown out there in his second game. And honestly, he did about as good as you could have hoped he could have done. I don't think he had a horrible game at all. There's a lot of goaltenders who would have given up those goals that Connor Ingram gave up. And we're talking about veteran NHL goaltenders. So this is in no way coming at Connor Ingram. But he was really thrown to the Wolves in this game, and they had to. It's a back-to-back. David Riddick's not quite ready yet. UC Saros has already started 8 of 9 games this season coming into this game. So, I'm not saying the Predators did anything wrong by starting him.
No.
They probably would have lost that game with Saros in net as well. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, so you watch the Calgary game, and, that was a rough game. Calgary is, they're tough. I mean, the
really Preds were lucky to win that game. I'm going to be totally honest.
Yeah, they stole it. They absolutely did. So, obviously, back-to-back, they're going to be tired. Saros was probably tired. Ingram made some really good saves.
That one save he made was oh, my gosh, save of the year. I mean, beautiful. He dove over the crease, and you thought for sure it was in. Draisaitl could have had 3 or 4 goals last night.
Absolutely, he could have.
He was taking target practice every time. So, full disclosure, I did have to work the boring day job, as you will. So I didn't catch anything. I caught the end of the second period and all of the third period. I did go back and watch the full game afterwards. So I still did get to watch the game. But watching the game live, I come in and I'm really starting to watch it in third period closely. And I'm like, almost every 30 seconds, the Oilers were on an odd man rush.
Absolutely.
And who do you know who's waiting to shoot and pull the trigger? It's Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt so bad for Connor Ingram. He was out there just flailing, just doing his best to make sure that the Oilers didn't put up 7 or 8 goals, and he did a really good job. He really stole some goals away from Draisaitl. Draisaitl should have had at least a hat trick last night.
Yeah, and the score, one of the goals was an empty net, so the score was really 4-2. Yeah, he made some great saves. But they announced today that they actually moved him back to Milwaukee today, and they activated Riddick. So
which is good news for David Riddick. We're happy for that. Connor Ingram, I think it's been really good experience for Ingram. Oh, yeah. It's going to be great for his development, even with only 2 games.
I agree.
He's going to go back to Milwaukee now. Hopefully, he's going to help that team get off the schneid and start winning.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's going to give him a whole new perspective on his career, and it's really good for him. So even though he took a tough loss, everyone knows deep down that he was going up against a outstanding team with 2 of the best offensive players in the world, and he still did a good job. So I got some underlying numbers here that I wrote down from last night's game that I kind of dove into. So high danger chances for. If you look at this is per Natural Stat Trick, which is your go-to source if you want to get into the analytics. High danger chances for. You look at 5-on-5. This is going to blow your mind, Rich. At 5-on-5 last night, the Preds had 11 high danger chances for. The Oilers only had 7.
Wow. Really? That doesn't make sense.
Now, it's going to make sense to you when I share the rest of this stat.
Okay.
When the Oilers were on the power play, they added another 4 high danger chances. And in the end, they ended up in all scenarios, all chances, all different chances. That let them have 13-12 advantage on high danger chances over the Preds. So the Oilers on the power play is what changed the entire makeup of that game last night. The Preds absolutely equalized the Oilers at 5-on-5 last night. If anything, they forced the Oilers to have to make some really tough saves at 5-on-5, which keeps going to show you, we know this, the Preds are a very difficult team to play against when the tables are even, when it's 5-on-5. They play very stingy defense. They hit you in the mouth. They play a very rugged style, but unfortunately that leads to a lot of penalties. And when you're playing a team like the Oilers, you cannot be giving them power play opportunities. You cannot do it. And unfortunately, that was the but you really can't do it when you're down 5-4 on the man advantage. And that's unfortunately what they did. And the Oilers feasted in that area.
They sure did. And like I said earlier, the Predators actually hung with them. They were in it.
They did.
Until that third period, man. I think
they outshot them. They outshot the Oilers 33-30. So I mean,
that's good that it wound up being that, because in the first period it was like 9-20 or something crazy.
Yeah.
It was, so
you can hang your hat on that loss, even though you never want to see your team lose. 4-game losing streak, it's a back-to-back, and you lose to the Oilers. You'll take that. Here's what it comes down to. Now they got the Vancouver Canucks coming up tomorrow night, Friday night. If you're listening the next day to the podcast, they got the Vancouver Canucks. And I'm sorry, even without Forsberg, this is a very much a toss-up game for me. Let's see if they are built to be a playoff team this year. And you know what playoff teams do? They dust off a really tough loss and they bounce back quickly. Yeah. Let's see if the Preds can bounce back quickly. That's what we need to see, because the Vancouver Canucks are not a team that scares me. They do have a really good goaltender, Thatcher Demko. They do have some decent players on their team. I'm not saying they're a slouch, but it's still a game that you feel like the Preds have proven they can beat a team like the Canucks. So they got to turn the page quickly. UC Saros is going to have to be locked in once again. It's going to take some really low-scoring wins for the Preds. They're going to have to win these games 2-1, 3-2 in overtime maybe. They're going to have to really figure out how to play their style, but also be smart and not take really bad penalties.
Yeah. And then Sunday going into Chicago. So,
yep.
That's always no matter what Chicago's got going on, that's usually a tough game. So,
yep, for sure. All right. This is episode 77 of Catfish on Ice. Again, the Preds' 4-game losing streak comes to an end. They lose to the Edmonton Oilers 5-2. They get goals from Ryan Johansson, and they also get a goal from Matt Duchene. Matt Duchene's got 4 goals on the season now. He is suddenly turning into the point producer that everyone wants to see.
Love it.
Ryan Johansson, so it keeps the power play cooking with another goal. He's got 4 goals on the season as well. Matt Duchene has a 2-point night. Roman Josi has 2 assists on the night, I believe. Yep, he sure does.
I'll take that.
So you're still getting a lot of point production from your top players that you want to see. So that's still really good. But again, Preds got to quickly figure out how to turn the page. Let's get to some positive news here.
Positive.
And that is,
take it.
We know now when Pekka Rinne's jersey will be retired. We always knew it would happen. It was a matter of when, not if. And it will happen on February 22nd of 2022. This current season, and it's going to come against the Dallas Stars. I kind of like that. I like the opponent they picked.
Yeah, I do too. It would have been good if Chicago was coming to town to do it on that night. That would have been a good.
That would have been perfect. But I get it. They got to make certain plans. I'll still take the Dallas Stars. That's still a good.
Oh yeah, either one of those is perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad they're doing it. I actually got an email today. They're like trying to sell tickets, like ticket packages for the whole thing.
Well, I heard those ticket prices are already like skyrocketing.
They sure did. So when I've gone to the game, I usually like sit up in the upper section, but right on the rail, like section 325.
Yeah.
Tickets. There was like 2 tickets left in that section, and they were up really high, and they were like $125. Those are usually, $100 or less. So.
So as it gets closer, the resale value is going to get even higher. I feel like.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's going to. I don't think it's going to matter how good the team's doing either. I think.
No.
As it gets closer, the demand for it's going to get higher, and everyone should want to be there. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, it doesn't even matter how good the team's doing at this point. Everyone who wants to be there needs to be there, and it's going to be an amazing night. And they announced it on his 39th birthday. Which I found it very interesting. That was not a coincidence, because Pekka Rinne already said that he knew for a few weeks that this was happening, that David Poile had called him and told him about it. He has said how he had taken his dog to the vet and everything, and he got the call then, which, by the way, I've got the dogs out tonight. Normally I lock them up in my room when I'm doing the podcast, but the dogs are out today, and they're actually being very well behaved during the podcast.
That's awesome.
And they're not making any noise. But if you do hear a bark in the background, that's what it is. Yeah. But they've been quiet tonight. But anyway, so I love that he's a big dog person too. But yeah, he basically, here's what I love about his quote here. He literally, so this is from the Nashville Predators website. Yep. But he said, quote, "I was sitting in my car and David Poile called me and he just congratulated me and broke the news. I think for half a minute, I was pretty much speechless." And here's what I get out of that, man.
He's so
Pekka Rinne is such a humble and just likable person. I mean, he's so down to earth. Like, you really feel like if you went and had lunch with Pekka Rinne, he would be a normal person. He wouldn't be like, he wouldn't be some like gloating like celebrity that was like, look at me, like I'm so famous. No, he would be like a regular guy, a good friend.
Absolutely.
Anyway, to say that he was speechless, like everyone knew that he was going to get his number retired, but he is he still finds a way to be humble in the moment.
And not only that, when he mentioned it, he was like, I really appreciate him hanging my jersey, but I couldn't have done it without my teammates, and it's all about the team. I'm like, yeah, man, that's humble. That's exactly what that is. And like, he was doing the interview. He was in his parents' house. He said he was in his bedroom when he was a kid, and like he took the camera and like flipped it around, and like his dad like collects all of his jerseys, but he was in his actual bedroom when he was a kid. And I'm like, that's just so cool.
Yep.
And then I was like, I miss him a lot.
I miss him
so much.
It really is.
A lot of people
it's hard.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, and it's a really weird season because I mean, this is the first full season that the Preds have not had UC Saros or not had Pekka Rinne since 2007, 2008.
Yeah, and he even said something about like on opening night, he was like, "Did I make a mistake? Should I be there playing?" But I think he made a good. I think it's a good choice. It was time for him. As much as we hated to see him go.
I can tell you straight up that I'm really glad that he didn't make the decision to go to a really bad team, kind of like what Marc-Andre Fleury did, and because that would be really hard to watch right now as well. If we were having to watch Rinne struggle with a bad team and just mess up in that way. So I'm glad that he's enjoying retirement. He retired a Nashville Predator. I don't think this ceremony would be happening this season if he was playing for another team right now. We would have had to delay it. So it's perfect that we get to have it this quick and all that. So it just works out great. So everyone needs to be there. Again, February 22nd of 2022 is the date. So you got to be there. Again, Pekka Rinne. Oh, it's going to be February 24th. I gave everyone the wrong date. Wow. February 24th, 2022.
I really wish. So I have a authentic Pekka Rinne home jersey. I really wish. I don't know how I could make it happen, but I really would like to get it autographed and framed.
Oh, hell
I don't know how to make that happen, but gosh, I would love that so much.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
All right, I'll work on that Christmas present for you, Rich. I have like less than 2 months to do it, but I'll figure it out.
You're pretty crafty. I think you can figure it out.
Let me just pull Pekka Rinne in my phone book here and give him a call. Yeah. I'm sure I can make it happen. But he's the first Preds player, obviously, to be to get his jersey retired in the team's history. If we really want to think about it, maybe Roman Josi would be the next one. His story still very much has to be written, obviously. But if Roman Josi won a Stanley Cup for the Preds,
oh my gosh,
I think he would have a good chance. I'm just saying. But other than Roman Josi,
all of them then. Retire all their jerseys, whoever wins the Stanley Cup.
He'd be the captain. He'd be like, the Norris Trophy winning. He's the only player on this current team that I think would have a chance. But anyway, awesome stuff for Pekka Rinne. Very happy for him. So awesome. And some good news there. There's never bad news when it comes to Pekka Rinne, though. I mean, you can always count on it. You can always count on it being really good news with him. So we're happy to talk about that. If you're going to the game, let us know. Tell us on social media at Catfish Ice. Please. On Twitter.
Make pictures.
Also, we have a YouTube channel that we're streaming live on tonight. So go subscribe to that. We'd really appreciate that. It would help us out a lot. And so let's get into our next segment here. Before we do that, we're presented by DraftKings. NFL fans, I know you're hungry for another week of NFL action. We got Thursday night football going on right now between the Jets and the Colts. I'm sure most of our fans, 99% of our listeners, are going for the Jets tonight because why would we go for the Colts? Because they're in our division.
Yes.
Yes. But yes, the DraftKings Sportsbook officially has you covered. They are the official betting partner of the NFL. Got an awesome offer right now. You can just bet $5 on any NFL team of your choosing to win, and you will win $200 in free bets. I'm highly recommending you don't bet on the Titans this week. I'm just saying, just being honest, being objective. This is your free betting advice. Don't use your $5 on the Titans this week. But either way, if the sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, then there's also daily fantasy. DraftKings will not leave you empty-handed on that, so go do that. And when you win, it's winner, chicken dinner. And everyone loves a chicken dinner. So go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN. Bet just $5 on any NFL team. And if your team wins, you win with $200 in free bets if they win. THPN, use the promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook app. An official sports betting partner of the NFL, must be 21 years or older in New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania. New customers only. Restrictions apply, and a minimum $5 deposit on any $1 wager required. One per customer. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or if you're in Indiana, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. Let's get to our final two segments of the night. Before we get to our Battle of the Central Power Rankings, let's get to this NHL news here. We can't overlook this. Finally, it's over. Finally, I feel like we've been talking about this since like the dawn of time, like since like 3 years ago. It's like Jack Eichel finally has a new home. Every day I wake up and there's these rumor articles about where's Jack Eichel going to go? Is he going to go to Calgary? Is he going to go to Anaheim? Is he going to go to like all these different teams? Yeah. Finally, Jack Eichel has a new home.
Is he going to go to Nashville?
Nah, we heard that very briefly.
Very briefly. But
we did. There were people who talked about it for a little bit. I never bought into any of it.
No.
He's going to the Vegas Golden Knights, so the rich get richer. No pun intended.
Ooh.
No pun intended, Rich.
No, that's right. I wish the rich would get richer.
So what do you think about it? What do you think about it, Rich? Like, are you kind of annoyed as I am that he ends up with Vegas? Like, I'm happy that he's out of Buffalo. I am. I see people fall on both sides of this through all this. Some people are like, Jack Eichel's a crybaby. He's a cancer to a team. He didn't want to play. He forced his way out. And then I also see the people on Jack Eichel's side that say the Buffalo Sabres are a poverty-stricken franchise. They don't want to win. They don't take care of their players. They did Jack Eichel wrong. He deserves to get out. I've seen both sides of this argument. I fall on Jack Eichel's side. He is an outstanding, great player, and I watched part of his interview with Elliot Friedman. Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it yet.
It was so good.
I bet it was.
And I do have a couple. I do have a really. Before I get your thoughts on it, Rich, I had this quote. Again, this was Jack Eichel. I really recommend everyone going to Sportsnet on Twitter and checking out Jack Eichel's interview that he had with Elliot Friedman. But this is the quote I pulled out of it. So Elliot Friedman asked, what went wrong, basically? Where did the train go off the tracks, basically? And Eichel was very honest. He was very candid. He was very transparent.
Now that he can be.
and he showed and here's his quote. He said, where it really changed was before last season, the Buffalo Sabres changed management, and we weren't in a position to go win. And paraphrasing here, but after that, he basically went on to say, look, like we weren't agreeing with the vision of the team. He thought the Buffalo Sabres were going into a rebuild. He thought they were yada, 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 kind of like what the Preds are kind of going through.
Yeah.
But Eichel, the way he says it, Eichel wanted to say, hey, I can be a springboard into your rebuild. I can get you a couple prospects, and he said, I'm a winner. I want to be on a winning team. I don't want to play for a team that's rebuilding. And he made a business decision for himself. And me personally, I'm sorry, but I respect that. I do understand that he could have gone about it a different way, but at the same time, that's where I fall on it. Where do you fall on it, Rich?
I'm a little on the fence because I agree. You know, they were so bad last year when he was with them, and like they just could not get anything going. So I understand him not wanting to play for him or whatnot, but like they're actually doing pretty good this year without him. They're like,
and that there's something to. I mean, hey,
I think
that's definitely fair.
Yeah, I think they won their first 3 or 4 games like in a row. They were like 3-0, something like that. So maybe it just wasn't a good fit all the way around. I'm glad that he's going to get to play again.
He's going to play for a contender, so he better show up now.
He absolutely better show now.
The money's on the money is on the table now.
It absolutely is. Hopefully his surgery goes well. That's another big thing. Like, I don't know, he's having back surgery, and I'm sure it'll all turn out good, but like, when's he even going to be able to play for him? Like
that's still another mystery. I don't know about that. We'll have to wait and see about on that one. But he's definitely going to be a part of that team when they're making their playoff run in their.
Oh, they're going to pull Kucherov probably, right?
Vegas is going to make the playoffs, and so just thinking about what he could possibly bring to them, Vegas has shown you, hey, we're sick of falling short here. It's time for us to win a cup, and I'm sorry, they have no excuses now.
No.
If Eichel ends up getting in there and playing, so I want to give Jackie Redmond a lot of credit. Jackie Redmond, she's on NHL Network, and she is awesome. I love Jackie Redmond. I really highly recommend all hockey fans to go follow her if you're not already. But she put it out very, very plainly here. So her tweet today regarding Vegas. Build through the draft, they say. Vegas. Trades for Max Pacioretty, trades for Mark Stone, trades for Robin Leonard, signs Alex Pietrangelo, trades for Jack Eichel. Obviously she's being very sarcastic there, but it just goes to show you that there's different ways to build a Stanley Cup team, and the Vegas Golden Knights have definitely not gone through the homegrown talent route.
Yep.
They're looking to stack that team. But I'm telling you, it's all going to come crashing down for Vegas if they don't deliver. Yeah, because they're mortgaging their future. Because let's talk about the actual details of the trade here. So Buffalo, I think Buffalo did really well in this return. They get a 2022 first-round pick, which is basically like another really good prospect you'd expect.
But it's conditional, I think, right?
I think it's top 10 protected.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah, okay.
Top 10 protected. Yeah, I didn't say that. Cool. Yeah. A 2023 third-round pick, still good. Yep. They get Alex Tuck, who has already shown that he can perform on the NHL level. He's putting up.
I got something about that after you finish.
All right, get into it. And then they got Peyton. They got a guy named Peyton Krebs, where I had to kind of do some research on him. He has not made it into the NHL yet. He really hasn't even done much on the AHL level yet. He's a former 17th overall pick in 2019, so still very much a project. But still, you essentially Buffalo gets 4 players through this draft, and they get a starter. And Alex Tuck. So, Rich, give me your Alex Tuck stuff.
I looked in to him right before we went on.
You sound like some private investigator. I did some
homework. I did a little homework. I got on the interwebs and checked it out. He has not played this season yet. He's probably not going to play till the end of the season. He had shoulder surgery.
Ooh, okay.
He's not played at all. So I was wanting to see his stats to see if he was, how he had done. So last season he had 33 points. In 2018-19 he had 52 points. So that's obviously his best season. So if he gets back to being healthy, gets his shoulder rehab, I think he'll be really good for Buffalo. And I think that's going to wind up being a good part of the trade. But
So it sounds to me like Buffalo is almost like the Predators in a lot of ways. They don't know whether they want to rebuild or not because they're actually playing decent this year. So it sounds to me like Buffalo is going to see what happens this year. If they make the playoffs, if they do better than expected, then so be it. But it seems to me like Buffalo is still very, very much in tune to the idea of we are going to build for our future. And it sounds to me like Jack Eichel wanted no part of that. And there was a lot of disagreement between him and the front office, which is obvious. And so now both sides get a fresh start.
Yep.
And we'll see what happens. I'm sure Buffalo fans have no love lost. I'm sure they're happy to see him go. I said, I've interacted with a lot of different Buffalo fans who have said he is a cancer to a team. No one should want him. And I get that, but they're also biased. And from an outsider looking in, you can't blame a player as talented as Eichel, or really any player, to be quite honest, for making a business decision that's personal to them, but especially on a player of Eichel's talent. Yeah. If he stays in Buffalo and just wastes away for the rest of his career because he wants to be a good sport or he wants to be a good teammate or whatever you want to call it, then that's all well and good, but then his career pretty much wastes away in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So he made that business decision to say, I don't want to stay here and that it's best for me to go to a contender so I can build my legacy. And if he goes to Vegas and they win a cup this year, he's going to look mighty, mighty smart, especially if he helps them win. If he ends up being a difference maker, let's say he scores a bunch of goals in the playoffs, he's going to look very, very smart. And I would not count him out on that with his talent.
Well, the spotlight's on him now. He got what he wanted. He's on a contender team, so he needs to put up.
There you go. He's got a lot of pressure on him, and
he does have a lot of pressure.
And if he folds and he ends up being a dud, and Vegas falls short, it's going to look really bad as well.
And I think like the thing about being, people saying he's a cancer in Buffalo or whatever. I don't know if the guys in Vegas will put up with that kind of stuff. They just seem like they're a little more no nonsense type players.
Oh, for sure. So, I don't buy into that though. I think that's bias.
Yeah, it probably is.
I don't think he's a cancer. I just think he didn't want to play there anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
and you have a right to say that.
They were horrible last year. I can see why he wanted out, but I don't know.
All right, let's get to our good for him. Let's get to our final segment. That is our battle for the Central Week 3 rankings. You ready for it, Rich?
I'm good.
I'm good. All right, we're going to start from the bottom. We're going to start from the saddest teams to the most happy teams this week, like we usually do. And I have a change of heart in my last place teams this week. I'm knocking Arizona back down to the 8th spot because, I mean,
they are so bad.
How can I make an argument? I mean, I would be like insane. I'd have to be blind to not put them in 8th place. They still haven't won a game yet. They're 0-9-1.
Man,
they're a negative 29 goal differential now.
That's so bad.
I got nothing.
If you remember last week, we didn't agree. Last week we didn't agree on any of them.
I didn't. I was trying to be nice, and I moved them up to 7th. But we're good. So, we're in full agreement there.
So I know we're going to be good on 2 of them at least.
So the Blackhawks have only 1 win in regulation. If you take out the Blackhawks and the Coyotes, every team in the NHL at least has 3 wins this year.
Wow.
So, I mean, we're talking about and there's only 3 teams who only have 3 wins. No, 4 teams because Dallas. But I'm just saying, they are so bad. But it's okay, which one's worse? It's hard to say, honestly. But I can't put Arizona ahead of Chicago when at least Chicago's managed to get to overtime a couple times, and they have actually won a game this year.
They did, and they actually almost beat St. Louis the other night.
We're about to get to that too. Because I still think St. Louis is a little bit fraudulent. Just saying.
Fleury had a really good night. I think he was 33 or 34, but the score was 1-0. They couldn't get a goal, so
I think the only reason why you can narrowly say that Chicago is less suckier than Arizona is that they do have Marc-Andre Fleury at least.
Yeah, I say this every week, but I feel so bad for that guy. Like,
I do too, and I'm really glad that Pekka Rinne didn't go. I'm really glad that Pekka Rinne did not end up taking that spot.
Like from what you hear, he's like.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Actually, you probably don't want to imagine this, but could you imagine if Pekka Rinne was in Marc-Andre Fleury's position right now?
No.
Let's just swap them out right now. Let's say the Blackhawks are 0-9, or let's say the Blackhawks are their current record, and let's say instead of Fleury, it's Pekka Rinne wearing a Blackhawks jersey, and he's getting trotted out there to that train wreck every night, and he's just getting roasted every night. That would be more torturous than watching the Preds lose.
I don't think I could take it.
I wouldn't be able to take it. I would have to turn off the TV. I would have to not watch hockey.
And that's what's bad. That's what's bad.
So
it's not Fleury's fault.
Let's just be happy. Let's just be happy and count our blessings that Pekka Rinne did not end up in that train wreck.
Yeah, I don't know. Their win was pretty impressive though. Chicago's I think Patrick Kane got a hat trick.
Congratulations! They won one game. They're still bad, and I can't wait to. Preds, please do not disappoint me.
Don't
against
give
the
them
Blackhawks coming up. Seriously, oh my gosh, it's not. And there's a lot. You think people hated the Blackhawks before with all this news, which they rightfully so. A lot of people are angry with the Blackhawks. A lot of people want to see them lose every game by 20 goals if it's possible. And I totally understand it. I'm right there with you. Preds, please take care of business and beat the Blackhawks more than ever this weekend. We need it. Let's do it. Just do it. Take care of business. You're such the superior team, and the Preds are not going to play very many teams this year where they're considered the superior team, but you are the superior team in this game, and you better take care of business.
Yes.
All right. So we know who 8 and 7 are. I think 6th place is going to be completely different from both of us.
Okay.
But I try to tell you, I've been telling you for 2 weeks that it's the Dallas Stars. They're not that impressive. They're not who they were. Everyone wants to think about the Stanley Cup season. Everyone in the bubble, they want to think about how they lost in 6 to the Tampa Bay Lightning and all that good stuff. Yep. And then they want to think about how last season they just had bad luck because they lost in overtime to the Preds so many times. There's something wrong with that team. I don't know if it's because they're just getting too old and their window has slammed shut. Alexander Radulov doesn't look the same. Tyler Sagan's not really doing a lot. They're just not performing well. And so I'm sorry. I got them firmly in 6th place. I feel very, very confident in putting them there. They're just not very impressive right now.
We are 3 for 3 because I have them there as well.
But you did not have them there the last couple weeks. You were trying to tell me that you didn't you were thinking they were a lot better.
I did actually,
and they still could be. We're still early in the season, but we do these rankings from week to week. We have fun with it. It's going to change every week.
We're not professionals.
We are not professionals, but I have been pretty sturdy on my opinion about the Stars for the past feew weeks.
What you said about them is absolutely true, though.
They're very ordinary. They're ordinary.
They're a shadow of their former self, that's for sure.
And maybe
that door, man, is there's a little crack of that door or that window left open for them. And I think they're going to have to do something this year after this year. Yeah. I just don't think it's just ugly. So,
yeah. All right. We're 3 for 3. And I'm pretty sure last week we didn't agree on one of them.
No, none of them. They were all.
So now we're 3 for 3 all of a sudden. This is what we're trying to tell you. Every week, this is going to be completely different. Mm-hmm. So that's why you got to tune in, because you just never know what you're going to hear from us. Yep. All right. Give me your number 5. And I think I'm going to make some people mad with my number 5, but let me hear yours.
I have the Predators at number 5 still.
We're 4 for 4s.
There you go.
I also have the Predators at number 5.
Here's why. The confidence in them is rising just a little bit. I'm cautiously optimistic. Even they look good against Edmonton for 2 periods. They lost or whatever, but I just still don't have them until they show me a little more. I just can't.
Well, I'm also going to add to it though. I think I'm taking injuries into account here.
That's true too. Yep.
If the Preds had Forsberg and I knew he was going to be back and he was at full strength, I would probably put them at number 4. But as they stand right now, I'm not even sure if they would beat the Stars head to head right now. I'm not sure. Like, losing Forsberg hurts really, really bad. But we don't have to make that decision because they don't play the Stars anytime soon. But I'm just saying, I cautiously put them at number 5 because they have shown me a lot in these past few games. Even the loss of the Oilers, the Predators have still shown me a lot, and I'm very pleased with them. I'm very happy with them. They've definitely responded this early season, even though they're 5-5 and they're basically the exact definition of average. They're right there.
Yeah.
And so I got them at number 5, which is basically right there on the doorstep of maybe making the playoffs again. They've still got a lot more to prove. And now not having Forsberg in the lineup, I'm really worried that they're going to go on a little bit of a losing streak here. I hope I'm wrong. We'll see Friday.
Yeah. But I have the schedule.
That's why I got them at number 5.
Yeah, I have the schedule put up. They are playing Dallas on the 10th.
All right, we got. Oh wow, is it that quick?
And it's a back-to-back. The next night, St. Louis.
I thought they played Dallas a little bit later. All right, well, we still got 5 days to get ready for it.
They're playing Chicago, Dallas, and St. Louis. All 3 teams that Predators fans do not like.
And 3 division games and 3 division games in a row.
Yep.
So you want to talk about a big shift in the division race? I know it's early, but a big shift in the division race is going to happen in that 3-game stretch right there.
Yep. Well, and then they're playing Arizona on the 13th. But
so
you're getting beat them.
So you're getting a lot of division games coming up here. So we're about to see a lot of we're about to see a lot of let's really see what you're made of, and let's really find out if you're in this division race or not.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, but right now, all right, me and Rich got him at number 5.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right. So my number 4 team
is.
I really struggle with this, but I am going to put Minnesota at number 4.
We're 3 for 4.
Because they've actually, I think the guys over at the State of Hoppy and the Soda Pod have gotten to me. I joined their podcast right after the Minnesota Wild Preds game where the Preds beat the Wild, and they didn't convince me that night. But I've kind of been looking into them a little bit more, and they make a really strong case for their hometown team as far as maybe – I don't want to say they're fraudulent. I still think they're going to be a playoff team, but they're definitely not doing anything that's just super impressive. They're 6-3 on the season, but they've actually got a negative goal differential on the season. And a lot of the games they've won have been by 1 goal, and they've also beaten a lot of really not very good teams.
Yep.
And so I've come around on it. And they've also lost a couple games since then. And so I've got the Wild. I got them dropping. They're my biggest dropper of the week. I've got them dropped all the way down to number 4. They lost to the Ottawa Senators in their last game.
Yeah, I looked. So I have Colorado at number 4. Just because of their record, I didn't put them up higher. I'm expecting like any day now, just like a big, huge push from them. But I think they actually lost like last night or the night or they're playing tonight. I can't remember, but I'm just expecting,
we got a lot of games going
out. Yeah, they're going to figure it out. I'm waiting any day now. They're going to figure it out.
They lost in overtime last night to the Blue Jackets.
That was it. Okay. Yeah, that was it.
So, yeah. But, all right, I got Colorado at number 3.
Yeah.
I do, because I actually think they're going to eventually come around to be the number 1 team. But as of now, I got them at number 3, and it's just because they are still trying to figure some things out. I'm pretty sure has Mikko Rantanen been playing for them?
I'm not sure.
Because he's an outstanding player, and I have not heard anything about him this year. He's been really quiet. I really like Mikko Rantanen. I know McKinnon missed us some time. Yeah. Rantanen's out.
Oh.
Ranton has been out, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I
I wanted to double check to make sure I was correct on that. But yeah, Mikko Rantanen is like a very important part of their team. And so when they get him back, once again, they have one of the best top lines in the league once again. If they get him and Nathan McKinnon back together, yeah, hands down. So they're figuring it out, and they're still right there in the mix. I mean, it's not like they've kind of slowed some things down and figured some things out. So I think they're going to easily figure some things out and be just fine. So got them at number 3, and I've got the St. Louis Blues at number 2, which means I got a new number 1 in the Central, and it's the Winnipeg Jets.
There you go. So I have Minnesota at 3. I had them second last week. I moved them down. We already talked about it. They lost 3 of their last 5. They've only scored 4 goals in those losses. Like you said earlier, it was like they lost. They only scored like one goal or whatever. I have Winnipeg as second. They've only lost 1 in their last 5, and they're still going strong. So that leaves.
You keep the Blues at number 1 for you.
Keep the Blues at number 1. They're still going strong. They've had some recent losses. There's chinks in their armor, but I mean,
and they got the ultimate crybaby Jordan Bennington in that. So,
him and David Perron. I can't. But those 2 guys are the main reasons why I don't like them.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, gosh,
I'm just waiting for the St. Louis Blues to finally go on a little bit of a crash course and fall apart a little bit. They're still going to be right there in the mix probably, but I'm not. I think Winnipeg's legit though. They're legit. They've got they can come at you in waves just almost like the Edmonton Oilers can.
Yeah.
But with Connor Hellebuck in net, man, they scare me, and they've got a great home ice advantage. So yeah, watch out for the Winnipeg Jets. They're my number 1 team this week. Week 3 of battle for the Central. Rich has got the St. Louis Blues. We both got the Preds at number 5. So which tells you we're not homers.
No.
We love our Preds, but we're definitely not homers. We got them at number 5. We're just not convinced yet. But next Thursday, before next Thursday's rankings, let's see how many games we got. We're gonna have 1, 2,
3.
We got 4 games. So the Preds can absolutely prove to me and Rich that they should be higher after they play the Vancouver Canucks, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Dallas Stars, and the St. Louis Blues, which will round out their 6-game road trip.
Yeah, man. And we'll be on after the game next Thursday too, against St. Louis. So yeah, that'd be awesome. Hopefully, we're talking about a win.
Yeah, we'll finally get to have a game reaction. Yeah, we'll finally get to have a game reaction episode. We haven't gotten to do that in a little bit.
No,
but yeah, so a lot to prove here. A lot to prove. Yep. They're on a very, very long road trip right now, and in fact, they come back for just 1 home game. And then they go back to Canada for another 3-game road trip.
Yeah, man.
So this is a make or break part of the year for them, being on the road. And sometimes teams talk about it, how actually being on the road clears their heads and actually is good for them.
Yeah.
I know the fans don't like to hear that because they want to think that they're the difference makers and all this, but I've seen plenty of players in all sports say sometimes it's good to be on the road. You clear your head, you get away from some of the noise, and you focus in on your goals. And so maybe Edmonton, that was a loss, almost certain.
I mean, that would have been a loss to a lot of teams. So, I mean.
Exactly. So now it's time. They get a day off to reset, to calm everything down. You got a Vancouver team who I call it a toss-up this game. Then you get Chicago. You better take care of business. Dallas, another toss-up. You get Forsberg back by then. Fingers crossed. I feel really good about that. St. Louis, I'm sure St. Louis is the favorite there, but we'll see. So there's still very much to be optimistic about here. But this has been episode 77 of Catfish and Ice with Chad Minton and Rich Howe, brought to you by DraftKings. Get the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN. $5 bet on any NFL team gets you $200 in free bets if that NFL team wins. So go do that. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. Please. We need subscribers. It helps us out a lot. We stream all of our episodes on there. We're going to start putting more and more content on there. We got a watch along. We plan on doing with the Hockey Podcast Network coming up very soon. So we'll pick a game where we actually watch the game and do our live episode while we watch it with a fellow podcast that covers the other team. Very cool. We are still making plans for that. So stay tuned. Got to subscribe to the YouTube page to really be in check with that. Rich, you got anything else to say as you're wearing your Winter Classic jersey?
I'm wearing the Pekka Rinne Winter Classic jersey. Thank you. Just need to get Forsberg back. I was feeling really good about the season or the month of November, and looked like there was some games that they were going to win, should have won pretty easily. But now I'm just kind of everything's teetering on the edge of good or bad. So we'll see what happens.
It put us right back into that uncertainty and back into that gray area. But Absolutely. The Preds are 5-5. They're right there in it. They can still make the most out of this season. So stay tuned and stay along for the ride with us. We appreciate all of you for listening and following. We will see you next Monday for episode 78. Until then, everyone stay safe and take care. And this has been episode 77 of Catfish and Ice. See you later.
Have a good one.